What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is October 25th of 2021. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are. And in today's video, we've got to talk about the topic that everyone's barking about. Pun absolutely intended, albeit it might be a bit cheesy. We're going to be talking about Shiba Inu, or SHIB token in this case. Now, I, as much as the next guy, really don't want to be spending time talking about Shiba Inu. However, I'm actually going to be taking a relatively neutral stance, albeit I will spend more time talking about why I'm not so much optimistic and rather pessimistic at this point about SHIB and would rather put my attention elsewhere. I do want to talk about the clear reality that is that Shiba Inu can continue to climb. However, I want to make sure I can deliver both stances to a decent degree. So let's go ahead and start off with the positive one, which is not where I generally stand, but it's one that I accept in this case, and everyone should accept when it comes to crypto markets or any other market. If GameStop, Dogecoin, and any other crazy rally this year has taught us anything, it does not matter about the fundamentals of a project. Cryptocurrencies like Shiba Inu, nor the protocols that we may love for fundamental reasons, are not valued off of their fundamentals. The market capitalization as well as price are purely determined by the amount of inflows or outflows outweighing on the market. And the way to explain this better is whether or not market orders are eating up more of the asks on the order book, or vice versa, there are more market sell orders that are eating into the bids. It's a very fancy terminology for are more people either buying or selling a given asset, generally speaking. Inflows and outflows. That is every single market, whether people like it or not. It's not an incredibly efficient system, but it's one where, in this case, the overall market is going to drive prices up or down in a given asset. And depending on the supply of the given asset that's available and where these assets are being traded, whether it's on an AMM or order book, it can start to lead towards something like Shiba Inu in this case being worth a fully diluted market cap $38 billion, right? And it's not to doubt that there aren't some inflows into the asset. There's definitely some buyers in this case. There's a lot of people who've got it on their watch list. And outside of that as well, there's obviously the craze, in this case, around the Wall Street Bets community and previously TikTok. However, that was back a couple months ago, when TikTok still allowed for crypto, when Wall Street Bets was at a much higher degree of publicity and traction and dominance of the market. They are not the same kind of buy-side pressures they used to be for the market. The trend faded off to a large degree. You cannot trade SHIB in this case on Robinhood or a lot of these major applications. So many of you might be asking yourselves in this case, how is Shiba Inu up this high? How did we get an inflow of nearly $18 billion here back on October 7th? And yet again, a revisit here towards $15 billion in daily traded volume here towards the later part of October. We take a look at the markets here in this case. You've definitely got some volume coming in from the major exchanges, right? You've got Coinbase and Binance starting to garner some traction here. But we've also got a lot of areas here where you have potentially fake volume in the market that are overinflating the real buy-side pressure. And what this really comes down to at the end of the day are a lot of major players in the space. They could be whales, they could be, active traders in this case, propping up the asset like Shiba in this case, only to take upon profit taking on the next wave of gullible buyers in this case, who are two steps behind. They weren't in it when it was down at a discount, but they're going to buy in this case when it's on all major exchanges, when it's there's traction in the market, right? So this is where I want to start to kind of step into my more realistic opinion, guys, because we did this with Dogecoin, and inevitably it was actually a good call in this case to hold off from FOMOing into Doge at its highs. So as we are stepping into an environment here, we're altcoin dominance, I do believe, will continue to grow here, right? We've seen a really nice rebound here since we talked back around the 52.5% mark. We're now up nearly just under 55% here. And I do believe that Ethereum is going to continue to grow, that the altcoin season index shows us here, right? We're back where we were back in January, February. We're going to kick off more exciting altcoin price action in the near future. I do believe this. When we take a look here at the Shiba Inu chart, for SHIB against BTC. So this is a custom pair I made here because there aren't any SHIB BTC pairs that I can access on TradingView, right? You can see here we've got Shiba Inu divided by wrapped Bitcoin. And this is actually a really good way to get the longest span of price history when it comes to looking at when it was trading on Uniswap in this case and decentralized exchanges, because that's the home for SHIB in this case. It didn't start on centralized exchanges. So we can get the full range of price history here. Now, again, I will say something here, which is that usually when price comes up to previous all-time highs, it continues to grow higher in this case. It could continue to climb here. But I got to tell you guys, the kind of price action here looks a little bit toppy here because we've come up towards this range 2 times where prices started to roll over or fade here. Right? You can see the wick of each of these candles, right, starting to fade down quite dramatically here from their highs. And you can, again, in the ratio, sometimes it's hard to see this, right? But we can see here that that's about a 20% decline the other day from the previous highs. And again, not a good candle pattern here. So again, as much as people might be FOMOing in here, and of course, I can understand the frustration, guys. If you've been an altcoin player, you've just been sitting in Bitcoin and you say, hey, no fair in this case. SHIB's up almost 300% in this case, almost 4x in this case on initial investment against Bitcoin. That's unfair. I want to get on these gains, right? Everyone has that feeling of FOMOing into it right at the moment after it's already gone up 4x. Now in crypto, of course, you can have your 10x's, your 20x's, but I gotta tell you guys, as you've probably been feeling it, especially with the larger cap plays, you're not gonna get that much multiples in this cycle on these large caps, at least not in such a short period of time. It's generally not in your favor in this case. And the thing that we emphasized back a couple months ago, back in May, and even back here in early April as things were turning up, it was like, look guys, things might be going good now, but if you don't know how to take profits in this case or set protective stop losses on these kind of momentum plays, don't trade them, right? I usually generally with a lot of my investments actually don't recommend in this case the need for excessive stop losses or a lot of protective measures, because if you're swing trading for a long-term time frame, right, and you can understand that there's going to be some degree of volatility, expecting that there's high degrees of returns, then it's really not that necessary. But the problem is that people buy into the momentum up here and they don't set a stop loss in this case to make sure that if the music stops, they get out of their positions, right? Again, at the end of the day, guys, Shiba, Doge, all these assets, there doesn't need to be anything fundamental about them. I'm not here to argue that, oh, you know, I'm so frustrated in this case because Shiba in this case doesn't have any fundamentals. What I'm worried about in this case, like any other asset, is that when there's not enough buyers coming in, just like any other asset, there's no difference in this case, right? When there's not enough buyers coming in this case, who are continuously setting demand for the asset versus the sell side pressure, which will grow stronger as prices grow higher, as people start to take profits. What's to say that the music isn't going to stop, that the punch bowl isn't going to spill over, and that prices are going to decline just as fast as they rose up? And that's exactly what you see here during cycle euphoric tops. Dogecoin back here in April, 25 cents going all the way up to nearly 3 times that, going up towards around 75 cents, and in about the exact same period of time, coming back down to 25 cents. All those buyers along the way getting wrecked in this case, having to likely sell or hold bags at higher prices, right? Now again, at the end of the day, I'm not saying that Shiba can't keep going up, right? Doge, since back here in June, has been kind of basing out. It's been setting in these higher support levels and might continue to climb higher. But we're here to talk about Shiba in this case. And it's back up towards a relative resistance range from back here in May after already making incredible gains. Now, I'm not going to sit here and speak too much on it because I do feel like I need to do a little bit more analysis here of token holders, the data science around it. The problem that you're going to find with a lot of these larger players who have created these tokens out of nowhere, and then, you know, ride off the trend of Doge in this case. Hey, if you didn't get into Doge in this case, hey, we'll play into unit bias, we'll do all these things. You can have 1 million SHIB in this case, and it's going to go to $1, this and that, right? Their whole objective is for you to buy in at high ranges in this case to provide them the liquidity to sell their position. That's how these kind of players work, right? They're not building anything fundamental. They're Shiba army. They have these major bot armies in this case, all this stuff just to make sure that you feel like you're missing out and that you'll enter into it. Plain and simple. That's how this kind of stuff works, guys. They've perfected it to a craft, and they know how to get people to be gullible and get into something. Because if they keep something so simple in this case, they're going to be able to have as much potential buyers as possible. It's a really, really shameful thing because there are a lot of cool projects that are building interesting things. There are a lot of interesting protocols that have built applications that do life-changing things that really could start to change the way we interact with finance across the globe, whether it be DeFi, whether it be other areas of the crypto economy. I think, generally speaking, stuff like this is bad, but it's going to exist. People want to speculate, right? And look, I mean, overall, guys, again, if you want to have some allocation to it, that's perfectly fine. I think it's completely fine to have some percentage of your portfolio allocated to it. It's not financial advice. I can tell you guys, speaking with my actions, I haven't bought any. But I'll say this. Anyone who's telling you that it's going to $1, anyone who's telling you that it's even going to go to a cent in this cycle is absolutely bonkers. And you shouldn't be following them. If you look purely in this case, this just takes a moment to analyze this, right? If you're talking about this going to a cent in this cycle, right? We're sitting at 0.00003904 in regards to valuation. So let's go ahead and see whether or not these people who are calling for a cent in this case, not even $1 for Shiba Inu token, who are going out there and promoting so willingly in this case Shiba Inu and these high price estimates, if they're within the realm of reason. So Shiba in this case, because of its extremely high supply in this case, already inflicts unit bias in this case. So if, for example, you don't want to own a fraction of a Bitcoin, but you want to own millions of SHIB tokens, right? Because if SHIB goes to $1, then you can be a multi-millionaire, right? That's the thing that Shiba rides on in this case. And they take it to an extreme much further than I've seen the vast majority of cryptos do. But let's go ahead and let's do the math here. If we hear the people who even claim in this case that SHIB could go to a cent, right? We're not even talking about the dollar estimates. So we're going to go ahead, take our value here. Let's just going to rough this off to 0.00004, right? 4 zeros behind the decimal point. We're going to go ahead and type that in, 0.0004, all right? This is our current SHIB value, roughly speaking. It's actually a little bit higher in this case than the current one, so we're actually working in favor of SHIB here. We're going to go ahead and have to multiply this by a 250x return. I'm not talking about a 250% return, a 250x return from the current point. And that gets you to your desired conservative estimate under some of these people's eyes that it's going to reach 1 cent. Right? Now, I don't want to dive into the estimations here of $1 because I want to rationally ask you guys here in this case. We're midway through the cycle here. Is there any rhyme of reason in this case why SHIB, even in an absolutely euphoric market, would go up 250x from this point to reach 1 cent? I can tell you guys off the top of my head, and I'll put my name to it, it's not happening this cycle. And the reason why, as crazy as market cap it can be, right? Market cap can go to ballistic levels, right? SHIB could be worth maybe at the end of the cycle a couple tens of billions of dollars, maybe even hit that $100 billion mark, perhaps, right? But the major point I want to emphasize is just again the perspective of why I dislike the disingenuous nature of people putting extremely high, ridiculous, and absolutely bonker price estimates and therefore valuation estimates. Multiply the same market cap. This is just circulating market cap, not the fully diluted market cap. Let's go ahead and take a look at circulating supply market cap with the 250x. Oh, look at that. People are calling for Doge to be worth, in this case, or not Doge, excuse me, Shiba Inu, to be worth nearly $3.9 trillion in valuation. It's going to a cent. No, in this case, it's going to $1 in this case, right? That's what everyone's calling for. And to me, guys, I have to tell you all, I think every content creator, at the end of the day, if you're to take anything away from this video, every content creator has a responsibility. Every person has a responsibility from what they tell other people in this case. At the end of the day, I'm not giving financial advice to buy it or sell it in this case, but I do understand that like anyone in this case, whether it's your friends, family, people you admire, people you listen to, people you come to in this case to talk to, I hold some weight of responsibility as a content creator. And just like with leverage trading, just like with day trading, just like with speculating on any other crappy coin in this case, right? I'm not going to promote something in this case that I don't feel is comfortable within my risk reward profile, just to, in this case, make sure that you guys FOMO into it and meet to my benefit. I'm not like that. I'm not like a lot of other content producers who don't see at the end of the stick that they might be harming other people, right? So I want to make sure that the things that I talk about here on the channel are substantial investments in this case, not just on a pure fundamentals basis, but that I can guarantee to some degree isn't going to shoot up, in this case 500%, and then turn down 80-90% when everyone else is actually finally looking at it. Right? Don't be the exit liquidity of some whale in this case who hasn't created an ounce of value for the market or for you as an individual. Plain and simple. That's the reality of it, guys. Anyways, I rambled on probably longer than I estimated here on this topic. But again, definitely more on the negative end than the positive end, guys. I got to be blunt with you all. And whether you're a Shiba holder or not in this case, just take my opinion as you would with anyone else with a grain of salt in this case, and do with it as you will. It's not direct financial advice. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, letting me ramble as always. If you liked the video, drop a like. It's one of the best ways you can support the channel. Until the next one, I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.